Wow, Apple unveiled a brand new VR headset yesterday that costs $3,500 called the Vision Pro.
One more thing.
After watching that 2-hour Apple WWDC keynote, it was the exact same reaction to me walking out of the theater from watching Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Just perplexed, flabbergasted, and you're just sort of questioning, is this the Black Mirror reality coming to fruition? And normally WWDC is only focused on software, and I'll talk about that like later on in this video, but I first want to talk about the headset. Is AR, VR the future? Is it like the next platform away from smartphones? Yes-ish. Nothing will ever like top the pivotal moment of like the iPhone platform. Like having a smartphone, nothing will be better than that in human history, like ever from here on out. VR and AR, whether it's like Ready Player One, or like that one Black Mirror episode where he has like this memory chip and he could go like back in time to visit all his old memories, and he gets like caught up in like this person he used to love but is no longer with. You start to get those vibes looking at the Vision Pro and how Apple presented it. Especially the part where Apple's saying you could record 3D videos and then watch them back in real time. Even though no one is going to do that because the Vision Pro headset only has a 2-hour battery life. 2 hours? And I think the cumbersome nature of just wearing those like ski goggles just detaches you from reality way too much. And this is coming from a person who had multiple versions of Snapchat spectacles, sunglasses with a decent camera, and it was like very sleek, very minimal, and that still pulled me away from reality a bit. So this device I don't think is going to be good for recording video like the first generation because it's just too bulky and the battery life is too small. But maybe in future iterations, as technology just gets better and better, battery life improves, chip efficiency just keeps on getting better, maybe this could approach just super minimalistic like glasses. Overall, I haven't had too many experiences in VR. I've tried the Oculus Quest headsets multiple times. There's one that I could try like right now on my campus. Playing lightsaber for 5 minutes is a really cool, neat thing, but I've literally seen with my own eyes like a Quest headset just like sitting in the garage not being used. And if I had to choose, like, did I want Apple to approach making this headset with a budget of pricing it at only like $500 to $600? No, because if you've ever tried an Oculus headset, you could tell like the screen resolution is just super low. It looks as if it's like 720p, and that just like hurts your eyes, and you could get this nauseating feeling really fast. And not to mention you are using software made by Meta, which Meta overall is an alright company making alright software, but their UI does not even come close to the compelling UI that Apple makes. Whether that's watchOS, iOS, macOS, Sonoma, etc. And I can see why this is $300, $500. Am I gonna buy it? Hell no. Would I buy this if it was somehow $500? I would consider it. When this comes out early next year, I am 100% going to go to an Apple store to try out like a full-on demo myself, because seeing like how VR works on like a 2D screen doesn't really work that well. Such as like the quick clips that we saw from like the Disney and ESPN apps. I would love to watch like Star Wars on like this huge giant VR screen inside my own eyes with like Grogu next to me and Mando on like the other side in this like Star Wars planet setting. Or like sit courtside in an NBA game and like see like the win probabilities up in like the left hand corner, or like on NFL Sunday you can have your fantasy team in like the right hand corner while watching like 3 different NFL games. And Apple barely talked about gaming, so there's a whole huge potential with that as well. I've always imagined like a cool like physics VR like educational app where I'm like learning 3D vectors right now in statics and trying to do 3D stuff on like a 2D paper. It takes a lot of visualization, and if you could get like that visualization with like a VR headset, I think that would be like awesome. Of course, endless potentials, honestly. You can see like production lines before they're even built. And I'm picturing like a Duolingo app where you could like practice speaking with like a real person. All these great possible expectations. Do I think this Vision Pro headset is like the Model 3 moment? I don't think so. I was 5 years old when the first like iPhone keynote happened with Steve Jobs like presenting it. The 3 things that in one device. And I was like in 4th, 5th grade when the Apple Watch got unveiled. I was around to see the introduction of the AirPods with the death of the headphone jack. And I was on the AirPods train like right away. If there's any tech company that I could trust to make VR and AR a practical thing for consumers, it's Apple. I don't think Meta could do it. I don't think Microsoft could do it. I don't think Google could do it with Google Glass. It has to be Apple, and finally Apple's taking a risk and we got the product. And that was only one half of the 2-hour keynote. I'll run through some of the things I particularly liked that's coming to new devices this fall. So for one, I'm probably not going to upgrade to iOS 17, which is a weird thing because I have an iPhone 12 and the chip is still pretty modern. But I am stuck on this exclusive build 16.1 where my battery icon from 21% to 99% have a very unique battery icon that Apple removed or bug fixed in a patch update that you could argue probably looks better in the UI. But just because I want to appreciate Apple's history and their little hiccup, I am not going to upgrade my phone. And my iPhone and iPad are starting to look like glass graveyards, but we could forget about that. And coming to iOS 17 is not a brand new redesigned wallet app, which was rumored. And this was disappointing to me because I really want to see the rollout of it's okay to have your driver's license only in the wallet app on your phone. You don't have to carry it around physically. And also it would have been a sign that Apple really wants to get more into banking, which I think they're going to get into, but I don't know why they didn't just pull the trigger here. And there was a rumor that we're gonna get a journal app. We did get a journal app. It's sort of not how I wanted it to be. Like I pictured Apple giving you like recommendations on like what to journal about, but it seems like it's only tied to like your real life events. You could have those real life events to like trigger you like journaling, but also just like more generic questions like how you're feeling, like how do you feel about your next 3 years? I don't know, like journal questions like that. And I thought Apple could have incorporated more like mental health features such as like meditation into like this journal app, being like a full closed ecosystem for mental health in one app. But Apple didn't quite meet my expectations of like a mix between like the Translate app UI and like the Breathe app on the Apple Watch. I thought it was gonna be a blend of that, but we got something entirely different. Something I'm honestly probably not going to use. A cool feature that will spark a little joy when I see it in person for the first time is this whole like sharing contacts with like 2 iPhones for the first time with like NFC technology. You tap each other's phone and you just like share your contact. And that goes along with a brand new contact user interface that almost has the same customizations as like the lock screen customizations. And I do appreciate how Apple cleaned up messages a bit, especially on the bottom. And I'm excited to try video stickers, which should be hilarious to send to your friends. And then we go to iPadOS, where Apple did not bring a calculator app to it, but instead they brought the health app because everyone was asking for that. No, we really weren't. We actually really want a calculator app. At least I do. We also did not get any charge limiters at all. And I don't know if the low battery pop-ups are still pop-ups in iOS 17. But Apple didn't talk about it. And iPadOS got interactive widgets. And then we go to the brand new macOS version, which brings widgets to the macOS home screen. And this really cool software that goes on top of your laptop camera, which I really wish I had during the 2020 pandemic when I was going through all these Zoom calls. Apple separating your face from the background, like blurring out the background, and you could like move around and you could like put yourself in a little circle, and if you put like 2 thumbs up, you get like fireworks in the background. Me gusta eso. And for the most part, that was Apple's huge keynote yesterday. Apple Vision Pro, a very interesting device that I'm very excited to eventually try. And I hope Apple one day brings the price point down to $500 with a product quality that is almost as good as the Vision Pro is right now. And I do appreciate how the Vision Pro doesn't have any controllers, it's just using your fingers. And according to MKBHD, that software is already working pretty well. The next thing you know, you're gonna wear like this Apple glove that's gonna start to give like taptic feedback to different points in your hand. That's the only way to do it, right? But yeah, I wish Apple took more risks, such as releasing a foldable phone, because I do think foldable phones are cool, even though I don't have one and I probably will never buy one. And I spotted a Lucid Air widget, which only further increases the speculation that Apple's going to buy out Lucid and finally enter the electric car market, or they might never do it.
And now, guess what? Now that we've seen where Apple's at, it will die a very long death. It's going to be decades, okay? It's not happening tomorrow. iPhone's still relevant, iPad's still relevant, Mac's still relevant, but you can tell, based upon everything that's going on internally, it's slowly starting to rot from the core, and it's just going to get worse.